Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at Bearded Tree Hugger. I just wanted to make a video today, continuation of what I said yesterday about what I'm going to be doing about what I have been doing for years now about the liver and kidney and pancreas damage that I did to myself doing the keto diet. I hope somebody saw that video. I'm going to be doing what I did in 2016. I've been watching Durianrider for, I don't know, however long he's been out. And I did one time for about 8 months actually follow what his protocol is with fruit juice. Well, it's not his, it's actually Dr. Walter Kempner. I'm going to be doing that's why the main picture there is I have a rice cooker and I have a bunch of rice. So I've been making rice porridge in the morning. Well, it's not even morning anymore. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. But I'm going to be doing rice, corn, fruit. Honestly, I did raw vegan for a very, very, very long time. I'm so tired of fruit that I don't know how much fruit I'm actually going to do. I'll buy some bananas. I really like watermelon, but now that we're in mid-October, it's really hard to find any decent watermelon, so that's kind of an out. I won't have those again until probably April, May of next year. Most of us in the northern hemisphere are going to be having that same issue. Rice, some beans. I made a lentil curry yesterday with like no fat in it. I'm just doing rice, sugar, some fruit juices, fruit, corn, potatoes, pasta, beans, lentils, your usual high carb, low fat smorgasbord of food. I really like it, but at some point, even though I eat till I'm almost too full, I still end up wanting like cookies or something like that, and that has been the biggest struggle that I have gone through. Maybe he'll see this video and he can respond to it and tell me how to get past that. That has been the biggest obstacle, especially when I was riding bike a lot. Still dealing with a broken bone in my foot, so I can't really ride. Um, but when I was riding a ton, and I lived in eastern Pennsylvania, which is very hilly. I would actually drive just to the hilly areas so I could ride the hills, like Reservoir and Fancy Hill and all that kind of stuff for like 20-25% grade. Um, I changed the gearing around on my bike because of it. I remember coming because there was a velodrome right by the bike shop that I was going to in Trexlertown there. And I remember some of those guys coming to look at my bike like, man, that's like almost a dinner plate on your rear wheel there. And I'm like, well, I'm not the smallest, and I'm out here climbing these hills. I would park at that parking lot and I would ride like 10, 13 miles to the hills. That way my legs were warmed up, and then I would ride up the hills. But now that I live in Cleveland, I mean, there are hills here, but almost all the hills are on extremely highly trafficked roads, and the people here don't care that you're on a bike. I've actually had people scream at me, I hope you die. So I was like, you know, I mean, you could have just gone past, but you're yelling at me to go die. So riding hills here is a little rough. I mean, you can find some very rural areas that have hills, but it takes like 2 hours to drive there. I mean, it's just kind of a pain. So, my weight loss from cycling has definitely decreased since I've lived out here because I just don't have the hills to ride on. Anyway, back to the diet. So I'm gonna give this a shot again. I did lose a ton of weight. I was losing so much weight the last time I did this that I actually had I work at the post office. I had some of the women getting mad at me, saying I was going to weigh less than them at one point. I'm like, you see how I eat, you can do this. But when I moved back to Ohio, I think I've told this story. I was working at a post office because I was living with my parents when I first moved back because I was trying to find a place to live, and obviously I found a place. But the post office that I was working at was almost a 90-mile round trip. So I was working 9 to 10 hours a day, and I was in the car almost an hour and a half each way. I really didn't have any time. I actually, most of my stuff was still in Pennsylvania because I was moving the woman I lived with out here. So I didn't have my rice cooker with me. I didn't have any of my pots, pans, sauces, all that kind of stuff. My mom and dad really aren't into this lifestyle, so I really didn't have any of the support there. So I was kind of just eating whatever I could get, because I was working right by a Trader Joe's, and a Whole Foods was maybe about, I don't know, 10 miles, but on the way home. So I could pass it on the way home. And I would just get whatever I could get. I mean, I was eating a bag of oranges a day. So my first break, I would eat a bag of oranges in the morning. I think I was just eating some bananas and stuff like that, but dinner is where I would fall apart. I would just buy like spaghetti, fake meatballs, spaghetti sauce, and then Trader Joe's has the best pepper and salt potato chip, ruffled chips that you can buy. Money cannot buy better potato chips than they have. And I was buying them with hummus and stuff like that. And all the weight that I had lost in 2016 came back in like 2 months. It was almost traumatic. And then I got to the point where I'm like, I can't do this again. And I've kind of been stuck in around the 265 to 285 ever since. Like I said before, I lifted back in the day, so my legs are pretty big and strong, so I don't really notice it all that much. My clothes may be a little tighter. Right now, I'm actually losing weight even a week into doing this. I have been a chronic yo-yo dieter for a very long time, because at some point, I end up still wanting cookies, muffins, cakes, and all that kind of stuff, and I love to bake. I don't know how to get out of this cycle, quite honestly. I'll get down to 230, and then my brain freaks out and I want pastries and stuff like that. And then I can't do anything in moderation. That's why I don't have this stuff around. Because, I mean, I can eat it in moderation, but I'll eat it every day. Like, if I have a pack of cookies, I can just eat 5 cookies in one serving. I won't go back. I won't eat it during the day. I won't eat it for lunch. I'll only eat it for dinner. So the pack will last a long time, but I'll just consistently have like 5 or 6. So that's a ton of fat right there. I mean, that's more fat than I should be eating, I think, in a day. And I'll eat it all in one serving. And the weight just doesn't come off because I've got that insulin resistance, or whatever it's called. It actually kind of worked to my benefit back in the day when I was weightlifting, because I could gain muscle like nobody's business. I mean, they thought I was on steroids, because most people call it the pump when you go like do bicep curls, or like, you know, shoulder exercises, or you do a squat, or you do deadlifts or something like that. Most people feel that pump. Well, that was just new muscle for me, or new, whatever it was, sarcoplasm or whatever. It would just stay. And everybody's like, how do you do this? I'm like, I don't know, but I couldn't get the fat off. So while they could eat their McDonald's, Burger King, or whatever they were eating, and I would eat along with them, they would be pretty slender, but wouldn't gain the muscle, whereas I would gain the muscle like crazy, or whatever fluid it was. But I mean, I kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, so it had to have been some kind of muscle. But I wouldn't lose the fat. The fat would stay. So, that's how I ballooned up to 405. It was ridiculous. So I finally just gave up with weightlifting, because I could see that cycle was just getting me nowhere. So anyway, I don't want to make a huge long video, especially seeing I haven't eaten yet today, because I had a lot of stuff, orders to pack and whatnot. I'm going to be doing the rice, the sugars, the fruit juice. Maybe not the fruit so much. I mean, it's hard to find fruit these days. I live in a cold climate. You know, I mean, it's 81 degrees in the middle of October and ridiculous humidity. I think it's like 80% humidity today. It's been humid all this past week or 2 weeks. So it really doesn't feel like October, but I mean, growing season's over, so I can't really get watermelons anymore. And that's really all the fruit that I really like. I like watermelon, honeydew. I used to love bananas, but I just got so tired of them. I mean, I was doing 30 to 35 bananas a day. I mean, at some point you get tired of them. I didn't really like them that much in the first place, but finding good fruit, even back when I started back in 2010, 2011, wasn't that easy to do. Now, I was lucky that we had an Asian market called Aussie when I lived over in Pennsylvania there. We have a lot of Asian markets here, but none of them carry fruit like Aussie. If you live by an Aussie, or if you live on southeastern Pennsylvania by Aussie, you need to be going there. That place, I don't know where they get their fruit from, but it's like they take all the fruit that in America and put it in one spot. I mean, you could get persimmons, both styles. You could get Asian fruits. You could get desert fruits. You could get a watermelon almost all year somehow. I don't know where they were getting this stuff. You could get apples, pears, dragon fruit, other cactus fruits. I mean, the list goes on. The entire, like, the size of their produce was the size of most grocery stores. It was nuts. You could get sugar cane. You could get, I mean, just, it was endless. Endless. Their bananas weren't that great, so I didn't get the bananas there. They did have the real stubby bananas that were the red ones that are pretty good, but other than that, their bananas, not great. Even when they were fully ripe, their sugar was way lower than the stuff I was getting at Whole Foods. So, but everything else was on point. So if you've got something like that, I'm still trying to find it. I mean, we have an Asian town here. I've been to a lot of their stores. They mostly focus on animal type stuff. Live fish tanks where you can catch live fish and stab them in the face and watch them die. I don't know why that's a thing. So that's going to be it. I'm going to start it. I've already seen a little results. I'm going to see. I'm going to probably try to do it the rest of the year. I know if he sees this, he probably wants to slap me around a bit. I don't know what causes me having to, at some point, want cookies and stuff like that. I don't know what causes that. If I can get past that, then I don't think it would be a big deal. Now, when I will have to preface this with, when I was losing all that weight, but I was cycling in 2016, I was eating 2 big cookies a week. Because when I would go get all my stuff at the stores during the week, on Fridays usually, Whole Foods would have their pre-baked stuff, and they always had their chocolate chip cookies. I would get 2 of them. I would get a ginger and a chocolate chip. And I knew when I ate them because I would immediately get inflammation. Immediately. So I know I shouldn't be doing it. I mean, it was instantaneous. The first bite and inflammation would hit. So I know I shouldn't be doing it. I just wanted to make some, I don't know if accountability, because other people's opinions really aren't a thing I care about. But I do want to get this out there, because if it does work, I want to help other people. There's nothing that's more irritating than being fat that I know of. I'm sure there's worse things. I'm sure there's worse situations. I've been in bad situations. I would rather be fat than in most of the bad situations I've been in. But on a normal day-to-day, I would say that there's nothing worse than feeling bloated, maybe constipated or diarrhea, or no matter what you do, you're fat. You can ride bike all day long and somehow gain weight, which has happened to me before. And I actually met a couple other cyclists that exact same thing happened to them. And then there's other people who can drink beer eat a bag of potato chips, uh, eat an entire cake, you know, and down it down with 10 pounds of steak, and somehow they're rail thin, but they'll probably have diseases later down the line, and they don't even exercise, and somehow they're the size of my finger. So not all of us were given the same chemistry, hormones, and all that kind of stuff. So those of us who do struggle with this, let's see where this goes. Hopefully I'll take some pictures of myself so I can do a before and after. I'm hoping around February, maybe later, I'll have decent results. You never know. Sometimes this takes forever. Sometimes it doesn't. When I went raw vegan, the first 75 pounds fell off in a couple months. I mean, and then I actually think I tailed back a bit because I didn't want to have the loose skin. I kind of wish I wouldn't have tailed it back a little bit, because I think that's what caused me to go off plan. But I mean, who wants loose skin? Looks terrible. I'd imagine it gets caught and everything. I have been lucky, knock on, I don't have any wood here, but knock on glass, that I have not had any loose skin, no matter how much weight I've lost. So that's a good thing. Anyway, I'm all over the place here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make videos as much as I can. They're not all going to be about this, because I do like to talk about other things. Follow the journey. Subscribe. Maybe follow it with me. Leave comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you like. Talk to you next time.